Welcome everybody to the Boulevard Podcast. We're here today with Bill Sisneros and Mario Sisneros with Got You Covered Upholstery. Figured we'd pay them a visit, see the magical work that they do. They're actually relatives of mine. Corey knows them, he's been around the scene. They've both been around the lowrider scene for quite a bit, as well as Euro scene. So we're gonna hear a little bit about their story. I'm gonna pass the mic to Bill Sisneros. Tell us a little bit where everything started.
It started way back when my dad was doing upholstery and stuff like. He would do mostly furniture, but every once in a while he'd do a hot rod or a car or something, a little bit of diamond stitch, stuff like that. Died back in 1972, and I was still in high school. I decided I'd go ahead and finish high school, and then right after high school took over and opened my first shop in 1975. So I've been at it since then, and I've been through all different phases of the upholstery field, as far as like different stages, like hot rods, lowriders, the van era when there was a bunch of custom vans coming out and stuff. Back to the lowriders again, and now we're doing these high-tech hot rods, which Mario does most of those himself. He's actually been doing it for a while now, over 20 years now, and he's picked up a lot, and he's learned a lot on his own. There's nothing wrong with that. He's awesome at what he does, and I've been through it for so many years that I probably have, I would say, about close to 40 years of doing this, maybe a little over 40 years, I don't know. I've been around it all my life, though. We've been doing this for quite a bit. Quite a bit.
And have you always been here in Albuquerque?
Always been here in Albuquerque. Started back, like I said, in 1975.
Yeah.
And it's also it's been a journey, but it's been a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that I was in and out of it a couple of times.
Any other places that you worked?
Yeah, I worked at a few other places, and I picked up a little bit of knowledge, from those places too. Places like when I was doing furniture, I worked for American Furniture, and I worked for Caravan Customs. Caravan Customs, they showed me a lot about the van era because we're doing a lot of vans back in those days, and they were some custom stuff. Man, we took a lot of best interiors and vans and stuff like that back in the days, and I've always been blessed to have taken best interior in almost anything that we did, whether it was a motorcycle or bicycle or a lowrider, a van, almost anything. We've had a lot of world champions.
Yeah.
Like Casanova was 3-time world champion, Turning Heads, 2-time world champion. Rolling Malo was a 2-time world champion, I think. And we just had a lot of cars that we did, and they were awesome. They were awesome cars, man. That back in those days, it was a lot of competition going around and stuff, and it was hard to compete with these guys. But we came out ahead a few times, so we were happy.
That was back when pretty much anything was go back then.
Anything, man.
They didn't really even have to be drivable. Just look totally
roll
cool.
It in
just
roll it out.
I mean, yeah, rolling in the trailer, rolling out. I know they did have to drive them as part of the lowrider rules back then. I don't know if it's the same now, but they weren't comfortably drivable cars. Seeing some of the seats and everything in these cars and the interior and
the original interior in Casanova was an RO, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was an R and an O. The seats were an R and an O.
Had mirrors in them.
And they had neon lights in them and stuff, and mirrors all over, and they swiveled and stuff. I mean, you could drive the car, but it would be very uncomfortable in the long distance drive.
Yeah.
But they were a lot of fun to do, and had a lot of help from my son Mario and my other son Martin. He actually was the one who designed the R and the O. Very artistic, man. I wish he would be more involved with our shop, but he likes to do his own thing, so we don't bother him. Let him do his own thing.
Yeah. Well, it's good to see that you guys are kind of keeping it in the family and you're passing it down and Mario's going to start taking it over and doing. And he's like a lot of these newer cars, everything, even the lowriders are going more modern and stuff these days. It's not all diamond tucked, or I don't even know the proper terms for them. But yeah, I mean, you see a lot of them, and I think a lot of them are pulling from the hot rod industry, and it's more nice. It's not over the top quantity anymore. It's more quality and seeing
a lot of high-tech stuff.
Yeah, LEDs and stuff. There for a while it was what, TVs? Everyone was putting 30, 40 TVs in a freaking vehicle, and you're like, yeah. So now it's nice to see those nice crisp lines and the seats and everything, pulling them out. I'm sure you guys pull them out of everything to put them in.
Yeah, we've had to accommodate ourselves with the right tooling and stuff to be able to accomplish what Mario does. He does a lot of the stuff with he's got his own wood shop. His machines to make stuff, door panels, armrests, seats, whatever. I love to build consoles. I've been doing consoles since back in the lowrider days. But
and back to that, like what you were saying is that, back in the day they couldn't drive them, but now you can actually get in them and drive them. They're functional. They're like newer cars. They're modern, and they taken that hot rod thing and made it into a lowrider. Adding engraving and just super modern. One
of the first kind of cars I seen going that way was like the Lifestyles out of LA and stuff. I seen them going those more modern interiors, and it's nice to see. And a lot of the lowriding stuff gets pulled from that, and it's nice to see that from the paint jobs to the body mods and everything, especially the interiors, it's getting crisper and cleaner. Because there for a long time it was just basically cut this open, flip that open, that super wild. Back when you were talking about Casanova and stuff like that, I know the amount of work, turning heads and all that, all the amount of work that went into those, but they weren't meant to be driven. They weren't. And you see some of these cars now. I seen at the Lowrider show in 2019, Double Trouble drives off the trailer, pulls up, drives, parks, everything, and that's a full. He's probably got $1 million or more in that car. Yeah, and it's just cool, and it's one of those ones that had modern interiors and stuff. It's good to see how you're evolving to stay with it from the vans. I remember my mom and dad used to have an old Chevy van and had a big bed in the back. And it wasn't to that level, but
I mean I can remember us doing road trips when we were little. And you had
a
several
van
of
that
them.
I used to take all over the Southwest and show at different shows and stuff, and it did really good. It took a lot of best interior awards and paint awards. It was just a beautiful van back then.
Right.
And what's cool is that it's coming back around again.
Yeah,
Those vans are starting to come back, just like the mini trucks. Those vans are starting to.
Right.
Just people are getting bored of the Impalas and certain vehicles, so it's like, hey, let's do a minivan, or not a minivan, but a van. Yeah. The
18 van.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of van, I had my van for many years.
Right. Your
Astro. My dad actually passed that down to me, and Rob Vanderslice had painted it and everything. Rob and Ray Torres.
Yeah.
Casket, but. It was an unfortunate accident that I was in years ago, and I lost that van, but that was really, really cool, man. It was limousine style. I mean, we went crazy on it. Of course, I had the 4 TVs, I had a PlayStation.
See, back then it was, but I don't know, it was just back then.
It was a cool thing, back then it was different, and that's what we like, we like to be different. That was probably, that probably was my last vehicle that was custom now, and of course,
full custom.
I'm building a 55, and that's in the works, been in the works for a long time. My dad gave me it like almost 15 years ago.
Nice.
And so that's going to be
it's almost there.
Full
resto
rolling.
It's going resto mod with it?
Yeah, just super modern, LS motor, leather interior. Just want to do turnkey, something that you just have to reach in and boom, you got all the luxuries of air conditioning and automatic transmission and everything else.
Nice.
So
make it a nice cruiser.
Yeah, so that's in the works now too. But I've been doing my thing now, like my dad said, for 20 years. We started back. We were actually right here on Princeton 20 years ago with Rob Vanderslice, and we shared a shop.
Wow, it's been that long.
Also, Bobo was there.
Wow.
And
Bobo was right next door. Bobo's pinstriping.
That was, matter of fact, exactly around the time that Casanova had won the 3-time champion, because it was 98, 99, and 2000. And I remember that we had just left Caravan because I graduated in 98. And so we were working at Caravan when I graduated. I was with my dad, and then when he left, I left. We both left, and I've been with him ever since. So since then, we got you covered. Never left, never gone anywhere. Been pretty much the only employee that stayed 20 years plus.
And have learned quite a bit.
Yeah,
and you've perfected your craft. And if you guys don't know, if you haven't paid Gotcha Covered a visit, they can meet all your needs. I mean, you changed the name, I'd say, a few years back to Gotcha Covered Customs, or Gotcha Covered Upholstery and Customs, if I'm not mistaken. So they do a wide variety. They don't just focus on strictly interiors for vehicles or furniture. They definitely, that's what they're the best at. But they also do several other things. You guys have done body mods. I know, Mario, you're getting a little bit more crafty with the interiors. So you're routing MDF, and you're molding and using Bondo, and what is the other, cat hair? Kitty hair, fiberglass and things of that nature. So I think, again, evolving. Social media is huge. You bounce ideas off of people with social media as well. I know that, Uncle, originally you started with hot rods, then kind of moved into lowriders, kind of 80s, is when lowriders were huge, even late 70s when you started again in 75. Between the two of you, I mean, what would you rather do? If a customer came in with a hot rod, are you the most excited about that, about a lowrider, about a pro touring vehicle, full custom?
We're not picky about stuff like that. Anything that comes in is a challenge, and we like challenges. We like to be challenged, and Mario doesn't hesitate, man. He says, like, whatever the customer wants, and a lot of times the customer doesn't really know what they want.
Right.
So what we'll do is we'll sit down and I'll do some sketching, some drawings, and show them a few different ideas for consoles or door panels or even the headliners or anything like that, and they're surprised, man. They say, "Wow, do it,"
Yeah, and we talked to, I don't know if you're familiar with Aaron Labato, has U.S. Customs down there, and we kind of went in depth with his interview process and stuff like that. And then he talks about kind of the same thing as most customers they don't know what they like. They'll bring you a picture going, I like that.
Same thing with Joe Shop.
Same with Joe.
They kind of interview, which I'm sure you guys do the same thing. Well, what do you like? What are your colors? What is the scheme? What are you shooting for? Do you have pictures, ideas? And I'm sure, like, just like Aaron as well as Joe Shop, I'm sure they kind of let you take it and run with it, right?
Yeah.
Are those the nicer customers that let you do that, or the one that comes in say, "No, I want to fucking roll this exact colors," and you're looking at it going, "That's not gonna go well."
Right.
No, do you guys get those customers too?
We get something like that once in a while, but after they talk to Mario for a few minutes, man, they totally change your minds, man.
It's good that you can talk with them and get them to, because I mean, I know, being in the auto body industry for a long time, you get somebody, "Oh, I want this color, and you're looking at it going, maybe we need to hold off on that, and when it gets closer, something like that. It's cool that you can talk with them and get them to kind of see your vision, because being around it so many years, 20 plus years, 40 plus years, I mean, you pretty much know what's going to go with a car, and how it's going to look and stuff. And you talked about some of the custom vehicles you've done over the years, like rolling malo and turning heads. And what's some of the newer reasons? I know you guys just recently did Casanova again, right?
Yeah, that was like the fourth time we did it. So,
and that's going back from that stage of the RO seats and everything back then to now
more
it's
traditional.
It's more modern.
We actually used the original 300Z seats in that, and these guys did them, to the more modern look.
Yeah. Well, we tried to, do a modern take on it, but I mean, not that we tried. We weren't given the free will that we wanted to have. Like we were just talking about. We did have some free will, but we. Of course, we wanted to try to make things newer, a more modern take. The paint job was obviously done, I don't know, 15 years ago?
I think it was 17 years.
So we did our best to, he didn't want too much color, but we did add color. because obviously that's what the car has, you know, and so
Yeah.
A lot of different things that I would have liked to do, but I didn't have enough time. You know, we did the whole car in 1 month.
Yeah.
And so that really wasn't enough time to go, you know, to the extreme that I wanted to go to.
Yeah, I know
But
there was some other issues
in the
with
sense, you know, it's
them. I know the car had some issues and they were trying to get it back together, and one of the shops that it was at was taking a little longer than it was supposed to get it done. And so nothing on your guys' part. I know you guys kicked ass on
and
it
we
and stuff.
we try our best, you know, like when my dad first did that vehicle, you know, how 3 times.
Yeah.
Everybody worked together, you know,
Yeah.
and it was a rush, a mad dash like every time.
Yeah.
But they still made it happen. And
Yeah.
nobody got in his way, you know, nobody told him, you know, do this or do that. He had his thing and everybody had their thing, you know.
That's the thing about George. He says, do whatever you want to do, and he let me have the reins on it. He let me take the reins on it, and I was able to just come up with a design, a different design every time. I did it 3 times. You know?
Wow.
That's why he was world champion 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
Because he changed it every time. He didn't keep the same thing, you know. And the people that he was competing against, when they went up against him, the reason why they didn't win is because they kept showing the same thing, the same paint, same interior, 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
And he didn't. He changed everything every time. So that was his way of doing it. You know, his way of competing. You know, being able to stay up on top.
And do you guys? I mean, at this time, obviously, you're doing lowriders. You're doing, you know, whatever comes in. A lot of hot rods, a lot of stock. Same thing with furniture. Is there any shops that you guys collaborate with as far as with paint and body or anything where you refer customers, they refer customers to you as far as custom shops out there that you guys deal with?
There's a lot of shops. You know, like I said, we've been doing this. I've had my shop over 40 years, and so a lot of people refer us because they know the type of work that we do. They know the quality of work that we do and stuff. And we've had a couple of little mishaps, but nothing really bad. They just come back and we touch it up, fix it. They're happy with it.
Right.
I've never had a customer leave and really be upset with us, you know, or something that we did wrong or something. But it's always been, we've always tried to please our customers, you know, and do the best thing for them, you know.
Yeah, but we know how sometimes that goes. You can't always please everybody 100% of the time.
Right.
You're always going to have that one customer that just, no matter how perfect it is or how it is, they're not going to be happy. I know a few of those guys around town that...
Well, and I think that's just the nature of the beast in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Again, born and raised here. I love this city. Don't always agree with some of the things that go on.
I think Rudy's one of those customers.
You know what? I am one of those customers. I'm not going to lie. You know, I'm a firm believer in, you know, you get what you pay for. And if I'm going to go in and I'm going to...
Not necessarily.
Yeah, not necessarily, but I'm saying if I'm going to pay good money, I'm going to have a certain expectation. Yeah. And in speaking with the previous, you know, guys that we talked to at their shops, Joe's shop and U.S. Customs, at the end of the day, I think it's extremely important, and being relatives of yours, I've heard the things, but you're going to hear the things amongst the streets, right?
Yeah.
But I definitely know who you guys are as a business and also, you know, as family. And I know that there's always a way to make it right. So again, like Corey said, you're not going to please everybody. Somebody's always going to say they didn't make it right. But as long as on your conscience you can make that attempt, that's all that matters, you know? So I think that's a huge thing. Once again, another shop here at Gotcha Covered Upholstery, they are going to do anything to meet all the customers' needs. So, I mean, please give them a gander. You guys have social media, right, Mario?
Gotcha so Covered. Back to the name.
Yeah.
Gotcha Covered Customs came about because years ago, of course, you know, my dad had created the name Gotcha Covered Upholstery, and you know, never copyrighted, never did all that. So years ago, people stole that name.
Really?
And there's actually Gotcha Covered's out of state. And so I wasn't actually on my Instagram. I have Instagram, my dad has Facebook.
Right.
But
the old timers have Facebook.
Somebody But somebody
The young
actually,
guys have Instagram. I mean, I have Instagram too.
So somebody actually already has that name. So I came up with, Got You Covered Customs, because we do a lot of custom work.
Right.
And so that's where that came about. But initially, my dad was Got You Covered Upholstery, and that's where it all started back in.
I didn't know that. How did you find out about that?
Oh.
That there was a Got You Covered
Oh,
Upholstery.
we
in
were at
another
we sponsor, like, we're one of the sponsors over at the
state.
Super
Super
Nationals.
Nationals.
So some guys walked up and they had brought in a car from somewhere, Oklahoma or somewhere. Or I can't remember where but they said, hey, we own a shop called Got You Covered Upholstery back in the. I said, how'd you guys come up with that name? He said, we're not gonna lie to you, we stole it from you guys. They literally stole. They came up and they said they stole it from us, because I've had that name since the 70s.
Right.
Yeah.
And I can remember when we were little kids, one of your original. I don't know. I didn't know 75. I thought 81. But I remember as a little kid, one of your original shops was on Edith.
Yeah. Originally, my brother and I opened up our shop, and it was just called Sisneros Upholstery. But when we split off, I wanted to do cars, lowriders, vans, whatever, hot rods.
Right.
He wanted to do furniture. So what he said, I'm going to go ahead and take off. And so that's when, instead of Sisneros Upholstery, that's when I named it Got You Covered Upholstery. And he named his something Monterey Upholstery or something. So he was doing strictly furniture, and I was doing automotive and stuff. And that's how that name came about.
Wow.
But I used to tell everybody, when we were under Sisneros, I used to tell everybody, don't worry, I've got you covered, So eventually that's how the game,
Nice little
that's how the
catchline.
name came in.
It stuck.
So how is with this last year that we've had all this COVID crap and stuff going on? How has that affected you guys? Is it brought your business up? Have you been down? I know. Did you guys? Are you a necessity? Were you guys able to stay
I'll let
open?
Mario answer that question.
We haven't missed a beat.
Oh, nice.
We've actually gotten busier and just kept going. We never closed down. We're considered, second essential business. But we've never been bothered by anybody, and so we just kept going. We have customers that are waiting, and we're backed up on our schedule time.
Oh, nice.
And so
that's always a good thing.
We just got work booked up for months on end. You know what I mean? Till probably the middle of this year.
Ultimately,
21. And so we have people waiting right now, and we can't afford to stop.
Yeah.
So.
That's a good thing that you guys.
what keeps us essential is the fact that we do work for a lot of the big companies here in town, like Comcast TV. We do all their vans and stuff, and they need those vans to get around, to get people their media and stuff. We also do TLC, they do plumbing stuff. People need their plumbing done, so we got to keep their vehicles going. And they can't drive around with their seats all torn up, man, because they start getting back pains and getting in. So they definitely,
So it's not
us.
strictly upholstery. I mean, you're
doing
reinforcing
custom stuff.
and fixing
Rebuilding,
seats as well, rebuilding seats.
reshaping.
Nice.
We do a lot of custom stuff like that, and then, like I said, a lot of commercial stuff.
And you've
We
even
have
had,
to.
I know in the past, some government contracts where you're doing
Sandia Labs.
right?
We
Sandia
did a lot of work for Sandia Labs and Kirtland. A lot of the different government places, even the city. City sends us some of their trucks and stuff. So it keeps us essential because they need us, we need them.
Right. Well, that's great. I mean, that's obviously a blessing, to not be affected by everything that's going on in the world. And it's a horrible thing. It's scary. We have quite a few people that, they're a little sketchy to come on, on the show for that reason, which is definitely understandable. So it's great that you guys are striving. Do you guys have any big plans, any big builds this year, or any interiors that you plan on? Huh?
It's 55 Chevy.
It's 55. Yeah, we're hoping. He was, we had to cancel last weekend because he had some people here working on it. So we're hoping to see that soon. But hopefully shows. Are the Super Nationals happening?
No, they canceled because of COVID.
Yeah.
So there's one show already in 2021 that's canceled.
I think they're going to cancel March in Arizona Super Show, because they just turned the stadium into a COVID center or something like that. So, but they're still scheduled as of now, March 27th for the Arizona Super Show. But I think that's the first big show of the year. And just to let everybody know that we're scheduled for the Albuquerque Super Show as of now. But we are making arrangements if things have to move for August, if anything like that happens.
Oh, I thought it was in August.
It used to be, and then he moved it up to try and get in between. So it's June 6th as of now. So if anything changes, we'll let everybody know.
So do you guys have anything like in the Lowrider Super Show or any other shows? I don't know if SEMA's happening this year. I know you guys have had some vehicles in SEMA.
Yeah, we have. And then we have a couple of, what's his name going to show us truck? That purple truck? What's his name?
Noel?
Noel?
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's other builds. I mean, you know, the hard part is right now is that as far as the industry goes, like we drifted away for a few years, you know, from the lowrider scene, but not really we drifted away. The people drifted away from us. And so, you know, we got into the hot rods, but, you know, either way, we're like, you know, like my dad was saying, we're not picky. We do classics, we do hot rods, we do lowriders, but a lot of the lowrider guys have gone away to other shops, you know, and I always say this, eventually they always end up back on our doorstep, which, you know, is cool. But I mean, like, you know, we're not biased to anybody, you know, whatever it is, you know, we'll tackle it. And
so did not having Super Nationals this year, because that's more geared towards hot rods and classic cars, is that gonna probably not affect you? I mean, since you're a few months out already, which is a good thing.
No,
6,
not
7
at all.
months.
All we're doing when we go to Super Nationals is we're reinsuring people that we're still around.
Yeah. I'm always used to seeing you guys there. I was there for the Brush Bash for I think 11 years, and it seems like you guys were there almost every year.
Oh yeah,
many years?
We've been with them.
Started, right?
Yeah, since it started. Even the very first year, all I did, I just rented a booth there.
Yeah.
But just to pass out cards and stuff like that. But it was just something that it just keeps going.
Yeah.
Started out as a little 10 by 10.
No.
And then we got bigger and bigger.
And you guys usually have a corner and end cap, don't you?
Yeah.
That you guys set up and you have a car in there.
Now
we're
have
a sponsor.
Oh, nice.
Now we're co-sponsors. Yeah,
That's awesome.
We're one of the co-sponsors, and we have at least 10 cars in there every year. At least cars that we do interiors in and stuff.
And like I said, that seems more now that you guys are doing more of the hot rods and stuff.
Yeah.
Because they're geared more. Super Nationals, there for a long time, out of many years that we went, there was hardly any lowriders there. And I think there was a lot of people that were thinking that they were discriminating against lowriders, but it didn't apparently.
Well, the last lowrider we had was Robert Sardukin's at the Cadillac. Rob owns it now.
Oh, Rob's old car?
We're getting ready to redo the interior in that car again.
Okay.
For Rob, his dad already came in and took care of that. He said, hey, get this car done for him. So we're waiting on Rob, and you can have spare time.
Nice.
He's been out of town a lot lately. So.
Yeah. He's been in Colorado, so.
On my old Chevelle, I painted it. It was a Ford color that year, and everybody kept coming by. Oh, is that a Candy? Is that? Because I used to park down there off of Lomas, and everybody's, that's a Candy, because the Chevelle's just curved. It's just basically, so it just looks in with all the pearls and metallics and everything now. And I was like, no, it's just a Ford color. It was a bright lapis poly. I remember that color. 97 bright lapis poly.
Mario's always liked teal. He's always liked them teal colors.
Have you guys seen Carlos's car from New Mexico? He was at that freaking thing came out.
Yeah. Man.
I don't know if he was joking, but he just put a price tag on it for $250.
No, he said it was a joke.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I saw the comments on there. I follow him too.
I don't know. That 55 came out beautiful.
No, but these cars are becoming more and more worth money. You know, they're just they keep value.
Well, they do to a point, but then you see some of the vehicles, like we talked about it before, the Volkswagen buses that jumped up to $300,000-400,000 grand for. Freaking, I got a friend, Cletus, that freaking said he used to scrap 21 windows for quarter panels and stuff because nobody wanted a windowed bus. They wanted a paneled bus.
Windows,
Right. He goes, we'd tear apart a whole freaking bus that's cleaner than some of these that are going for $100,000 right now. And it's
we just had a customer that told us that he sold his for what? How much?
80,000, I think.
80,000 without a floor.
A VW bus?
A 21 window, and then the guy had restored it and sold it for how much?
400,000.
But it's one of those things, like with the muscle cars and everything else. kind of reach their value. Like right now, if you look at bombs are kind of middle of the road, but Impalas freaking jumped. Impalas are
C10s too.
Yeah, definitely.
Why you all happy?
They do.
No, it is. You're right. I mean, it is the era.
No, so I'm pretty
Well, it's
heavily
because
involved. But
the
I'm
reason
saying,
yours are jumping up is because all the 68 to 72s are kind of
well,
getting harder to
I
find.
I think what's making them jump though is the fact that they're modernizing them, right?
Yeah.
They're putting these modern interiors. They're putting fuel injected. You know what I mean? The whole 9 yards. So.
But you see, the 78s and up are going to start jump. Or what is it? 76?
The second
No,
gens are
74.
72. No, excuse me.
73.
73.
67 to 72s.
Yeah, but those have been like a hot rodder's choice.
Those have always been.
Yeah, so now the
I built
73s,
a
the
few of
boxes
those.
are
Yeah.
kind of
Square
starting
bodies,
to, yeah.
big ones.
Square bodies have been pretty big in the last few years.
Yeah.
Those are now becoming the classics, which is kind of shocking to say. I mean, ever since the first gens. So anyway, we're talking cars, and we kind of got off
Took a little
subject,
break
but,
there.
Yeah.
But so what are the plans for Gotcha Covered Customs in the future? What is your plan, Uncle and Mario? With the
I'm
shop?
planning to retire, kind of semi-retire. I'll probably still be involved just to help Mario keep things going and stuff like that. I can't sit still. I could go home on Sunday and I'm sitting there trying to rest and watch TV or whatever, man. And next thing you know, I'm out in the backyard cleaning the yard or fixing something. I just cannot sit still, man. It's just been doing this for so long. I feel like I get really stiff and I can't move if I sit still, so I don't want to get old.
Right, and that's good.
That's
Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of people.
Stage.
As you see them, once they leave the shop, it seems like
Goes
they
downhill.
get bored. They just want to. You got to
Yeah, they
do
get
something.
depressed
You
and
can't
stuff. No,
just go by the. If you do, then I don't know. Who knows what he's going to start up his own shop now.
Well, I don't think
Sisneros.
it's so much that. I think it's just that, my dad has had multiple surgeries over the years.
Right.
His knees are going out, and so whether or not he wants to do it or not, he's going to have to come to the point where he has to just, pass the torch. And so that's why I'm here, and I'm ready to do my own thing, and not so much to where I'm going to do my own thing, but I want to change a few things, and I want to really become, a bigger hot rod shop, like for just.
He'll cut out a lot of the stuff that I do
Interiors,
because like I said, we take on anything. I mean,
Yeah.
we're doing antique furniture. I mean,
I know. I looking around the shop while we were setting up. There's a lot of different stuff here.
We do
I mean, you got
restaurants.
classics
we
and
do restaurants. I
Yeah.
mean, right now we're doing a bunch of booths for one of the restaurants here on Central. We're doing stuff for the colleges. Like their cafeterias and stuff. We do a lot of stuff for them too. But like I said, it's this kind of stuff that Mario really doesn't want to hassle with. He'd rather just do the cars, and I'm all for it. Do what you want,
yeah.
And
But
is that something that you, Mario, that you're going to continue to do? Like maybe, you say you want to grow, and obviously is your focus to expand in a full line of custom, as in, you hire a body man, or you're doing full on builds, not so much interior, and you're nixing, furniture, or is that something you want to continue with?
Not
Because
so
either way,
much-
it's income.
Not so much full builds, but like you said, yeah. We can't turn away money.
Right.
The bills got to get paid, and so those jobs are the the quicker, faster jobs, and better paying jobs in a sense.
Right.
But I want to get a crew eventually, hopefully that I have that does nothing but furniture.
Right.
And then the crew that does the custom interiors, and then maybe one or two guys that does repairs, because that's our bread and butter, and we really can't do away with it.
And how many guys are at the shop now? You guys have,
Currently, we have
Besides us,
besides you?
there's about 6 of us total
yeah.
right now. We lost one of
Four.
our main guys, but he's still going to be around to do some work for us here and there. He's just doing his own thing right
We'll
now.
subcontract a few jobs out there,
Nothing
convertible
wrong with
tops
that.
and stuff like that. So
That's always been the hard thing, is finding the help. I've seen a lot of people come and go over the years. And, and what's crazy about people that have come and gone is that I've learned something new from every one of them. And I've taken a lot of knowledge and combined it to
Making it
something that,
yours.
is mine now. You know, like people have there's even been, you know, a few guys that have passed away that used to work here.
Right.
And so, like over the years, you know, I just got tired of waiting for them to sew for me. So now I've currently been sewing for probably a little over 10 years now.
Nice.
And I think at first you were a little intimidated, right? Because you had big shoes to fill,
yeah,
you know, and being
way.
your third generation upholsterer,
Yeah.
you know, so it's great that you're carrying on the legacy of your dad and as well as your grandfather, you know what I mean? And I would hope you having, you know, a son as well, that he's interested in that. I mean, maybe there's I don't know, going to be a sewing machine in the future that does everything.
No,
maybe he's
I'll
just
tell you
running
what
it,
is,
right?
My dad bought a sewing machine back in 1968, and he, like I say, he died in 72, and I kept it, and I used it, and I put it aside because it was getting kind of old, and I gave it to Mario. So now Mario has it. So that machine went through all three of us now. He rebuilt it, and now that thing probably runs better than all the other machines that we have in our shop.
Wow.
And
it's just like anything else. They don't make them like they used to,
They
right? There's that old saying.
Yeah.
One of the things that me and Corey always ask is just the course that cars are going, you know, electric cars, and have you guys had to deal with anything like that? And I know you deal more in the traditional, you know, hot rods, the classics, the lowriders. Has anything been, I mean, because you guys have obviously dealt with electric seats and heaters in the seats and the whole 9 yards. And
so I get kind of what he's asking is, where do you see it going? What do you see kind of the next? Because like when we talked to Rob, when he remembered when he talked to Lowrider back in the day, and they were, he said, I'm going to put LEDs in the quarter panels of the car. And he said they kind of looked at him funny, but it's just one of those things where, did you see it going a certain way? Do you see... Well, even when we talked to Chris, where do you see, because you got electric cars coming and everything seems to be going that way, whether we want it to or not. I know there's still going to be always those old guys that want their old 32 Fords or whatever, but...
Well, you know, I've actually taken some wheelchair scooters and taken all the parts off of them and built little electric hot rods and stuff, man.
Nice.
And you know, we raffle them off at the Super Nationals, or I sell them or something, you know. But I've done a few of those things, so you know, it can be done. I mean, we can do just. We're not scared to, like I said, tackle. Especially Mario, he's not scared to tackle anything. So when it comes to the future, we've done that. We've installed electric windows and electric seats and stuff like that, and like I said, we're not scared of the future, because he's the future.
This is the future.
He's the future.
And do you have plans to pass it on to Lucas? Or do you think he'll be interested?
Yeah, I mean, just
does he
depends
show
on
an interest in it?
He loves
cars. I mean, he's,
that's a good thing.
He's little right now, and so he's still got a ways to go.
He's got a ways to go.
It was actually a day. He was 3 years old, and my wife had brought him in. She was pregnant with my twins, but he just it was weird. He ran around to each one of the cars, and he was so interested in them. 3 years old. I mean,
That's awesome.
You know, but he was so excited, and I'm like, what? You know, obviously for the cars, but it was crazy to see that, you know, and he does like coming here. He comes and he hangs out, and you know, he's still really young, but we won't know what the future holds for him.
Right.
For
is it something you would want your son to follow in your footsteps with?
I think it's up to him. I would like for him to be, you know, since I'm a third generation, that would be cool for a fourth. But you know, there's just so many different I guess types of cars. I mean, you know, I don't think the old cars are going away anytime soon. I don't know how far into the future there's going to be electric cars, but like, it just seems like the old cars, they last, you know, and they don't, you know, that's what people want, you know. But nowadays, like, people want an old car with modern technology, and so I think that's really where the future goes. But as far as that is, you know, people are still going to build their old cars, you know, and we're still going to be doing the same thing for another 20 years, I think. I don't think much is going to change, but, you know, we don't know. I mean, there's a lot of futuristic stuff. I was just working on, I just did a little bit of work on a McLaren, just couple weeks ago, and you know, it was like you look at it and you're scared of it, man. But you know, it was just a couple of quick little sill plate install, you know, and carbon fiber. And I had to cut it. I had to cut the carbon fiber, so it was kind of scary. But you know, I got him to fit, and it was done, and the guy was happy, you know. And he's gonna bring in a new Bronco.
Oh, wow!
Pretty soon, you know. He's wealthier guy. So, anyways, that's where I see some of the future going to, you know. But I don't think old cars are going anywhere.
A lot of the newer stuff nowadays, though, is everything just snaps in. Snaps out. Like he was saying, those panels that he's talking about that he replaced, the old ones just Velcroed off. I mean, they just snapped off and Velcroed, and then the new ones we had to modify them to make them fit like the old ones did. But he got it done.
It's sad that everything's just so replaceable now.
Yeah.
It's not like nobody's gonna want in 20 years. Nobody's gonna take a 2010 Camry and rebuild it. So I mean, you never know. There's that guy out there.
Yeah, you know.
But you look at some of these classic cars and stuff, and it's like it's still around. It's still here. It's where all these other cars that you see, they just want to crush them right away. They just it's easier for them to throw it away and go buy something new than for them to repair it. It's a lot cheaper sometimes. So it's just sad. I love seeing the old cars out, and I love seeing your guys' work and everything like that. So it's always nice to see quality workmanship.
Yeah. Do you guys do? How often do you see? You know, because you do a variety of everything, right? You do exotics, you do lowriders, you do hot rods, you do full customs. How often does somebody come in? Do you deal with the dealerships or anything? Do the dealerships say, hey, you know, we have something that needs to be replaced?
Very few. Actually, I deal with the Acura dealership locally, and I, you know, there's not very many people that are dealership-wise that are willing to pay the price, you know. But the Acura dealership here locally, they're actually pretty impressed with the work, and they know we're going to get the job done right, and so they trust us, and
That's cool.
you know, we get it done for them. They don't ever ask about the price, and so, you know, we've had a really strong relationship with them. Of course, I'm an Acura guy, so
right.
I've owned quite a few Acuras in my life, but that's just the one that I've chosen to drive, and me and my wife both have Acuras. Rudy has in the past too.
I have too. Yeah, they're great cars.
Your wife still has an Acura.
Yeah, I mean, Honda's not everybody's a Honda person, but I'm a Honda person.
But
one thing that I have seen quite a bit of, and I actually just learned, there's something that they call PDR, paintless dent removal, and one of the shops that I'm actually helping out now, wrapping cars, you can go to a class, to this PDR class, and they teach you to do a variety of things. And one of the things that I've only seen on social media, and surprisingly so that I've never heard you guys doing it, and I don't know if any of you have seen it, but they're basically doing repairs with, I don't even know what it is. They use fibers, they use resin. I don't know how it is, but I've seen it on Instagram before. I've seen it on TikTok is the big thing now.
That's been around for a while.
Has it?
It's been around for a long time.
And you guys, have you ever dabbled in that or seen it, or is it a hard process?
We used to have the kits to do vinyl repairs and even
leather and
I've
seen
all
it on
stuff.
leather, suede.
But we got away from it because people want to get it done as cheaply as possible.
Right.
So we're going to spend hundreds of dollars to buy all the tooling that we need to get it done, and charge them 30, 40 bucks for a repair. It's not worth it to us, you know.
Right.
I'd rather just take the insert out, replace the insert, and charge them a decent price, and it'll never fall apart. It'll never crack open or whatever. You know?
Yeah, that was the other question. And I say that, you know, years back, attempting to do hydrographics right next door, you know, the hard thing is you see something on social media and they don't show you everything.
No, they don't.
You know, when I was doing hydrographics, they didn't show you the prep, the paint, the clear, the color sand buff. You just
stick it in the water
and it comes out and you're like, oh, it's done, you know, and that's the hard thing. So that's probably the end result. Cool, it looks great when you see it right when it's done. But how long does it last? And also, what did they charge? So I just didn't know if you guys had ever seen something like that, or if that was a huge thing.
I watched some video one time where this guy was the leather was all cracked, and it took him probably 5 or 6 hours just to fix a little panel. You know,
really?
if you're charging whatever 80, 90 bucks an hour, that's a lot more than what it's going to cost to just take the panel out and replace it. You know?
Disassemble the panel.
And probably not going to last.
2 hours.
Yeah.
But no, going back to the hot rods, like or even anything that we build, like it's a process, you know what I mean? And people don't see that process, you know. It's first it starts out with, you know, a sketch or an idea. And so like that becomes the hard part when it comes to like doing an interior, is seeing the vision before it happens, you know, and being able to see your vision come to fruition, you know, where it's like you see it done, you know what it's going to look like. So a lot of the times when we have influence over the things that we do is because we already know what it's going to look like at the end. And so we won't allow customers to do something that we know it's not going to look right. And there's just so many steps that it takes to get to that point, you know, like building a door panel, you know, it takes a number of days, you know, and people just don't see that, you know. They're like, oh, well, you just wrap material over it, right? And you know, and it takes so many steps to get, you know, the gaps right and to get all the lines straight. And
usually these are the guys watching TLC or one of those.
Right.
Yeah, and then get it done in a week. You know, like,
that's what we talked. We had that same conversation with U.S. Customs as well as Joe's shop. You know, there's a lot that goes into what you guys do, and you're called Got You Covered, you know, Customs now for a reason, because Customs comes with the price, right? You know, and it's not cheap. And you know, you definitely have to have the appetite to appreciate custom work, no matter where you go, whether it's a car build or it's a custom interior or it's a piece of antique furniture.
Yeah, and they don't just do, we've seen a couple of cars around here, and they don't just do custom stuff. They're doing, I mean, it might seem custom to some people, but it's basically restoring interiors and back to factory and all that, which is, it's just cool too. Which do you prefer to do better? Do you like to do the custom stuff, or do you like to take one of these old cars, like an old GTO or something, and put an original interior back in it?
Not so much for the original. I mean, I can appreciate putting an original kit together and stuff like that for cars that, you know, every car has its fit for what it needs or what it you know, what style is it gonna be done in.
Yeah.
But you know, as far as appreciating European cars or a classic or a hot rod, everything has its own style.
Yeah.
And so that has to be addressed, you know, with the customer and gone over through and through, so that they can get a quality product when they're done. You know, when we're done with it, they're happy and it fits the look. You know, we take different elements from the car, whether it be patterns or body style or even just emblems or something on outside of the vehicle, and we incorporate it in the inside. So I don't necessarily have a favorite, but I just enjoy doing upholstery. You know, like it's hard for most people to say this, but I enjoy what I do for a living. Like it's not even a job to me. Like,
that's awesome.
You know, we do have struggles here, and you know, a job is a job, but like I love it. I love this job. You know, I never thought I would. You know, it started back when I was 15 years old, being around my dad and seeing all the cars that he worked on. You know, and like, just, you know, he helped me build lowrider bikes. You know, you know, I mean, we were young and it was cool. You know, we looked up to my dad. Yeah. Like, he was the best. You know, we saw cars that were the baddest cars in Albuquerque, you know, like in my backyard, you know, like, you know, like, this is Casanova, like, this is the #1 car, like, out right now.
Yeah. It wasn't a national champion, it was a world champion.
Yeah.
And so just not knowing back then, of course, where I was going to go, what I was going to do with my life. There was a few years, obviously, that I spent away, but I've been around this my whole life, you know, and like, you know, it's in my blood. You know, I'm a third generation. It came really natural. When I first started sewing, you know, it came natural, and I just practiced, you know. And that's what anybody would tell you, is that you practice your craft and you get better at it. Nobody's the best, you know. You just keep learning, you keep getting better, and you improve. You know, you want to get better at what you do, obviously.
Right.
So that's my goal in the future, is just to advance, to be up to date with all the new styles and types of I guess ways of doing things. You know, there's not just one way. There's always different ways to do this type of work, you know, especially custom. You know, we approach everything in a different type of way. You know, every project is different. So
that's awesome.
That's where we're headed in the future.
Quick, right back to what you were saying. I know what you're talking about, having the interior fit the car, because I've seen some interiors where it would be like a stock, go back to the GTO, stock GTO, and then it had a totally modern interior. It just doesn't fit the car. It just, I like that you guys wanted to make it work, make it flow. Like even with the paint and stuff, when you see total, it's nice. I've seen a couple cars like that, and it's like, I think it was a GTO, and the interior was totally modern and everything else, and the outside was 68 GTO, and it was like, somebody wanted a job, I think. So they're like, oh yeah, we could do that for you. But it's just, it's nice to see that somebody wants to make not the interior separate, because everybody's going to go to that car and look at that interior and go, that's a badass interior. But then they look at the rest of the car and it doesn't. You guys are working together with the lines of the car, with the car, and making it one big.
Yeah, we just recently did a GTO. What year was that?
Oh, I didn't know it was your GTO. No, I'm just kidding.
No, we did it for a customer, and he painted it kind of original style. He added a few extra little designs. But what we did is when we did the interior, we try to keep it looking old school, but just a little touch of modern in there, you know. So it flowed with the car real nice. The guy was real happy with it.
And I love to see that it doesn't look like the interior came out of a separate car.
Yeah, and we used the original seats and everything, so we just kind of, just a little touch of modern.
Nice.
Just a little bit.
And on the other side of that, I think there's the vice versa too, because you see a nice car with a paint job that is just radical, and then you look inside and you're like, well, what happened?
Well, yeah, and that goes too, and it's but when you're, but I think it's the bad side of the flip coin. It doesn't go the other way. Maybe they just don't have enough money for the interior.
Yeah, they ran out of their budget, went low, and
they got to the interior.
Well, and that's what a lot of those, we talked about with Aaron about that, is a lot of those older cars is they don't care what the interior looked like. They didn't care what the underside looked like. It was basically, we'll tint the windows and you don't have to see anything inside. But it's nice seeing the hot rods and the classics and the lowriders and stuff like that all wanting a nice interior now, nice fit, nice,
we did
nice quality. And
what, about 10 years ago? We did what this guy built. What year was that? 50. It was the grunge rod. Remember, he called it a grunge rod.
Oh, okay.
Like a 52 Chevy or something.
I think it was a 50
Chevy.
Yeah.
And we did, the interior looked all modern, but the outside was all
I think
rusty.
I went down to your, that was when you guys were down on 2nd Street, wasn't it? I think you called me and I went down and got some pictures of that.
Yeah.
I think so.
And
it was a different.
He called it a grunge rod, but it was really a cool looking car.
Yeah.
But you open the doors, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
The interior was.
Well, what's it? That was kind of. I think I've noticed that the rat rods are kind of falling off, which is kind of a good thing. But I kind of like the uniqueness of the cars. That not everything looked the same and everything was different. But there was a guy out in Santa Rosa that was building, and he would actually knew it all modern underneath, but then it looked all patinaed and which it's a nice.
Everything was all modern, but the outside.
But you look at it.
Wasn't it?
Steve, I forget his name. But yeah, he used to build those. He's been a
while.
He was good at it. Him and his brother.
Yeah. I think he pass? I think he passed away.
I didn't hear about it.
Yeah, last time I went through Santa Rosa, the shop was not there no more. I can't remember what happened, but it's sad to hear. But it's cool to see the different styles mesh, yes. But I like the quality, everything fitting nice, and then the lines and fitting of the car too.
That's awesome. Well, I think if you guys would like to let everybody know, again, Mario, you said, your dad has Facebook and you have Instagram. Are those the only two social medias you have?
Yeah, pretty much. Been debating whether or not I should do a YouTube channel. I don't have time for it, but I would like to, maybe in the future. It's a possibility that I might start up. Not a DIY or anything like that, but just just to get a peek behind the scenes of what we do, and just kind of show the work, and just a little bit about ourselves, so that may be in the future. But we do have I have Got You Covered Customs, My dad does has Got You Covered upholstery, or Bill Cisneros. William or Bill?
It's under William.
William Cisneros on Facebook, and he shows all his part. His
Got
side
You
of
Covered
it.
upholstery Facebook. So it's just gotta look.
So
it up
look
there.
them up. You can see more of their work. We'll be posting some pictures of some of their work that they've done in the past and some of the high-end vehicles and stuff they've worked on. So make sure you check those out.
Some of those world champions, we'll have some pictures of those. You want to let everybody know in closing, where you guys are located, maybe a phone number or anything like that?
Yeah, we're at 3319 Princeton. That's Princeton, just off of Candelaria, north of Candelaria, and just east of University. Been here for a while now. We're really comfortable here. It's an industrial area, and we can pretty much do what we can do. Do what we want to do here.
And Mario?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that we're doing okay right now as far as like work goes, but we can tackle anything. We're here for all your upholstery needs. Working with a super busy schedule right now, and kind of sort of in a way a skeleton crew, but I mean, as far as like the custom goes, we do have a couple people that just do ordinary plain Jane upholstery. Like me and my dad are the only two left that do custom here. We had another guy, like I said, and we lost him, but we're still going to continue to do what we do, and there's a lot of things for the future. I think there's plenty of upholstery out there for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
All shops. I mean, it's becoming a growing industry, but there's just a dying breed of trimmers, I should call it. That's what it's called. So if you're looking for a job and you're out there,
you want to learn a new trade, maybe you got what it takes.
If you have experience, we got to have somebody that knows what they're doing, but
can't sit there and hold their hand all day.
We're definitely looking for help. We're overloaded with work right now. If you need anything, we're more than willing to help. We're actually here. We want to create a friendship with our customers, and that's what we've been about. A customer is not just a customer; they're a friend. And we've had a lot of people over the years that have actually become really good friends. So we do want everybody to be satisfied and happy with the work that we do. And so again, at the end of the day, it's just quality and friendships and doing what we do best.
Well, we appreciate it. Bill, Mario, thank you for coming on the show. As always,
thank you.
We
guys.
Appreciate all you.
Thank you for
watching
having us.
The Boulevard. We'll catch you on the next episode.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.